It began on a seemingly mundane Wednesday afternoon. A day that seems ordinary, yet an unspoken tension lingers, hinting at something more beneath the surface. I'm Margaret, 62, and my life has been a gentle whisper in a small town near Denver. For over 35 years, I've shared my life with George, my husband. We've nurtured 2 children, experienced the thrill of highs and the weight of lows, and settled into a familiar dance of life. Or at least, that's what my heart whispered in the shadows. For a decade, George has poured his heart into his work at a local marketing firm, a steadfast man bound by duty yet yearning for something more. Philip, his boss, carries a magnetic charm and quiet strength, a presence that tugs at something deep within him. I'd crossed paths with Philip a few times at company events, effortlessly charming, always the epitome of professionalism. Yet, on this fateful afternoon, everything changed in a way I could never have imagined. That day, I was lost in the warmth of the charity event when George arrived to take me away, just like he always did at 3:30. But this time felt different, charged with an unspoken tension between us. As we drove home, an unspoken tension hung in the air, his silence heavy with thoughts I dared not uncover. His eyes held a distant gaze, a silent burden lingering within him, unspoken and heavy, yet he remained closed off, unwilling to share. As we stepped through the door, a longing to escape the chaos of the day washed over me. As I nestled into my favorite armchair, tea in hand, the phone's sudden ring shattered the quiet moment. I hesitated, staring at George's work phone, a device I seldom picked up. Yet that day, a whisper urged me to take it in my hands. "Hello," I whispered, my heart racing with a mix of longing and uncertainty. "My dearest Margaret." Philip's voice was smooth and controlled, yet beneath it lay a whisper of something forbidden, something deeper. "It's him, Philip. I hope it's not too much trouble, but I really need to talk to you alone. Is now the right moment?" I was caught off guard. Philip had never reached out to me alone, not once when George was around. I glanced at my husband, restless by the window, a storm of emotions swirling between us. He stood with his back to me, a silent barrier between us. He missed the call, unaware of the voice that could change everything. "Absolutely," I answered, a thrilling tension tightening in my chest. "What's happening between us?" "Let's not talk about this over the phone," Philip murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "I have to tell you this face to face. I'll be at your place in half an hour if that's okay." My heart raced. What could Philip possibly want to discuss with me alone? My eyes found George once more. He appeared distant, wrapped in his own world, oblivious to the words I spoke. "Of course," I replied, my voice trembling with unspoken feelings. "We'll always be here, even if we shouldn't be." Once the call ended, a wave of unease washed over me, lingering like a secret we both knew but dared not speak of. What secret was Philip holding back from me? My heart raced, a whisper of doubt creeping in, urging me to believe that everything was fine. Maybe it was just a fleeting moment, a trivial concern that held no connection to my heart. Yet the thought clung to my heart. What could Philip possibly want to say to me? About 25 minutes later, a gentle knock echoed through the quiet room. With George adrift in his thoughts, I took the plunge and answered it myself. Philip stood before me, impeccably polished, yet today he exuded a vulnerability that tugged at my heart. "Mrs. Margaret." He greeted me with a warm yet strained smile, his eyes revealing a flicker of uncertainty. "I'm grateful for the moments we shared together." I stepped aside, my heart racing as he entered. "Come in if you dare. Care for a cup of coffee, perhaps?" "No, thank you," Philip replied, his voice barely above a whisper, yet filled with a weight that lingered in the air. I'm grateful, but there's something weighing on my heart that I must share, and I can't hold back any longer. I guided him into the living room, where we settled on opposite ends of the sofa, a distance that felt both safe and painfully close. The air crackled with unspoken longing. Philip's familiar charm faded, leaving behind a raw intensity that took me by surprise. Our gazes intertwined, heavy with unspoken desire, and silence enveloped us. "Margaret," Philip started, his voice a hushed whisper, barely containing the weight of his feelings. "I have to share something with you, but you must swear not to breathe a word to George." "Not just yet." My heart raced, caught in a moment I knew we shouldn't share. What could be so important that it demanded to be hidden away? I nodded, my heart racing as I sat with my hands in my lap, longing for him to speak again. The air crackled with unspoken words, every heartbeat stretching into forever. "It's about George," Philip whispered. His eyes locked onto mine with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. "There's something I've kept from him, and from you." I inhaled sharply, struggling to stay composed as his words wrapped around me like a heavy shroud. "Is that you, George?" What secrets could Philip hold about George that remain hidden from me? "I've grown close to someone at work," Philip admitted, his voice shaking with fear and regret. "Months ago, everything shifted between us, and I found myself lost in the chaos of my feelings. I still can't." My breath hitched, the words lingered like a forbidden secret, the silence that followed heavy with unspoken longing. My heart raced, caught in a whirlwind of emotions as I tried to grasp Philip's words. "A connection," I murmured, my voice unsteady. "With whom?" Philip paused, the weight of unspoken feelings hanging in the air. "I can't reveal everything just yet, but I can share that it's someone near to George, someone completely unexpected." The air turned icy, and I stole a glance at my husband, lost in his thoughts, pacing in the next room. How long had Philip held this secret close, and what compelled him to share it with me now? What was it that he desired from me? Words escaped me. Words escaped me, caught in the storm of feelings that consumed my heart. What had I just discovered? Why was Philip sharing his secrets with me of all people? I glanced back at him, searching his expression, yearning to grasp what he sought by unveiling this secret. His eyes held guilt, yet beneath it flickered a desperate longing. "I never wanted to cause George pain," Philip said, his voice thick with regret. "But I crave your help, Margaret. I'm lost in this whirlwind of feelings. It's all so tangled, and I've ruined everything." His words crashed into my heart, leaving chaos in their wake. I was lost in a whirlwind of emotions, yet deep down I sensed his heartache. It was more than betrayal. It was about the intricate connections that ensnare us, often unnoticed, yet deeply felt. "Why are you sharing this with me?" I asked, my voice trembling with unspoken longing. "Why at this moment?" Philip leaned closer, his gaze filled with a desperate yearning for my compassion. "I care for George, but I'm lost on how to mend this. My heart aches. And you're the one I can confide in to help me navigate this tangled path." His words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken longing, as the reality of our connection pressed down on me. This was more than a mere secret. It was a fragile tie between two men, a truth hovering, poised to shift their world. But what about me? What was I meant to do with this secret? I sat in silence, Philip's confession hanging heavy in the air, a suffocating cloud of unspoken desires. My thoughts whirled, caught in a whirlwind of confusion and longing. As I gazed at him, the walls of his title faded away, revealing a man burdened by a choice that threatened to shatter everything, including his own heart. "I don't know what to say," I whispered, my voice quivering with unspoken longing. This is a fleeting moment, a quiet look in the stillness, where hearts quicken and thoughts linger. It's a bond that feels alive yet out of place, hard to pull away from. This was never in my plans. What draws you to me? Why not speak to George face to face? For a fleeting moment, doubt flickered in Philip's eyes, casting a shadow over his expression. He leaned back, fingers brushing through his short, graying hair, a silent echo of the conflict within him. "I can't confess to him, Margaret," he murmured. "I'm lost in this feeling. I've already shattered everything, and the last thing I want is to cause him more pain. It's consuming me from within. I hope that by reaching out, you might guide me toward a path to mend what's broken between us." My heart ached for them both, caught in a web of longing. George, my husband, blissfully unaware of the truth, while Philip wrestled with the weight of guilt and shame. Philip was the embodiment of professionalism, a man who seemed to have it all together, yet there was an undeniable spark that hinted at something more forbidden beneath the surface. Now he was just another soul caught in the chaos of feelings, desperately seeking an escape from a situation that had unraveled beyond control. "I don't know if I can help you," I whispered, my voice heavy with longing. "This feels overwhelming. I can't quite grasp what you want from me, but I'm merely the shadow of George's wife. This is beyond my reach." Philip's expression shifted, a fleeting hardness giving way to something tender, as if he were searching for my response. He appeared to understand that his request was overwhelming, perhaps even reckless. "You're right," he whispered, a hint of longing in his voice. "I never meant to burden you with this. But you're the only one who understands George the way I do. I had to share my secret with someone. Right now I feel lost within myself." His voice shook with openness, each word carrying a deep sorrow that tugged at me. He lowered his defenses, revealing a part of him that felt dangerously intimate. He had become something more, a secret longing wrapped in authority. He was a man burdened by the shadows of his own decisions. I inhaled sharply, seeking calm amidst the chaos. "You have to confess to him, Philip, sooner or later. This secret can't stay hidden for long." Philip nodded, his eyes falling to the ground, burdened by the gravity of what he had done. "I understand, but I'm not sure I can bear to see him again after all that's happened. For months, I've hidden the truth from him, Margaret. I'm not sure if there's a way to mend what we've broken." The words lingered, charged with unspoken longing. The silence hung heavy, a palpable tension binding us in a moment that felt both electric and forbidden. Words escaped me, caught in the tension of the moment. What words could I find for a man who had crossed a line so deeply? To a man who had just revealed a truth so heart-wrenching, aware that it could shatter everything he held dear. Perhaps you should reconsider," I urged softly, the gravity of my suggestion hanging between us. "Take a moment, Philip. Reflect on what your heart truly desires. I've met George. He's a man of integrity. If your heart is in it, you must find a way to reveal your feelings, no matter how daunting it may seem." Philip's gaze locked onto mine, a spark of hope breaking through the shadows of despair. "Do you believe he could ever find it in his heart to forgive me?" I found myself lost in uncertainty, unable to voice what lay within my heart. Forgiveness weaves a tangled web of longing and regret. It's a slow burn, a secret that lingers in the shadows. It demands patience, a deep connection, and the courage to mend what once shattered. "I can't say," I whispered, my heart racing, "but I know George all too well. He's a man bound by duty, Philip. His heart beats for loyalty, a flame that burns fiercely yet quietly, tethered to a love that feels just out of reach. Show him your regret. Give him the distance he craves, and perhaps, just perhaps, a spark of hope remains. Philip leaned back, his fingers curling tightly around the edge of the sofa, lost in the weight of my confession. His brow furrowed, and for a fleeting moment, I glimpsed the turmoil of guilt and fear battling within him. He stood there, uncertainty in his eyes, yet open to the whispers of what could be. For the first time since he entered, a spark of hope flickered in his eyes. "I can't imagine my life without you, Margaret," he whispered, his voice laced with longing. "In this fleeting moment, your friendship feels like a precious gift I never expected to receive." I turned away, my heart heavy with unspoken words. "I'm more than just a friend, Philip. I belong to George, yet my heart whispers secrets of another. In my effort to save him, I find myself reaching out to you as well." We lingered in silence, our minds tangled in unspoken desires. The room pulsed with the burden of Philip's secret, yet an undeniable tension lingered, electric and unspoken. A silent connection, a spark that hinted at a deeper bond waiting to unfold. At last, Philip rose, smoothing his suit jacket, a heavy sigh escaping his lips. "Have to leave. George must be searching for me. His thoughts heavy with worry. I can't let him catch on." I nodded, a wave of relief washing over me, the tension slowly melting away. "I'll wait for you, Philip, but you must find a way to fix this. This chase can't last forever." He offered me a fleeting smile, tinged with regret. "You're absolutely right. I'll find a way, Margaret. I'm uncertain about what lies ahead, yet I'm ready to embrace it." As he approached the door, a wave of unease washed over me, a bittersweet ache in my chest. This wasn't the end, not by a long stretch, yet a part of me dared to hope that perhaps, just perhaps, we could find a way back to each other. Philip had slipped, a grave error, but we all falter in our moments of vulnerability. He wondered if he had the courage to mend what was shattered between them. As the door clicked shut, I stood in the hushed living room, enveloped by my swirling emotions. What comes next? Can I guide my husband through this tempest? Could George ever find it in his heart to forgive Philip? And most importantly, can we leave this moment behind us and step into what lies ahead? In that fleeting moment, clarity washed over me, revealing a truth I had long overlooked. Sometimes the most painful challenge isn't merely confronting the truth, but enduring the heartache that follows. And the way ahead, however it unfolded, would demand time and patience, as the moments after Philip's confession became a haze, charged with an undeniable tension that lingered in the air. I moved through my days, cooking, cleaning, assisting George, yet a restless ache lingered within me, whispering that everything was on the brink of transformation. Philip lingered in my thoughts, his weighty secrets pulling at my heart. Yet my thoughts kept drifting back to George, my husband, the one who placed his unwavering trust in me, blissfully unaware of the secret that lingered between his boss and me. Each glance at him sent a sharp pang through my heart. The burden of holding Philip's truth from him weighed heavily on me. It was the dread of the moment when everything would be revealed. Would it shatter everything we hold dear? Is there a chance to mend what was lost? Though uncertainty clouded my mind, one truth lingered in the shadows. I couldn't abandon George, not when he needed me most. Late one night, just after dinner, the air crackled with an undeniable tension that could no longer be brushed aside. George had grown distant, and the heaviness of unspoken words hung between us, a bittersweet ache that neither of us dared to confront. As we settled in for the movie, I could feel the distance between us, his thoughts drifting far from where we were. Whenever I reached out to him, his responses felt distant, his gaze drifting to the screen as if he were lost in another world. "George," I whispered, "is everything all right?" He hesitated, his hand lingering in the air, caught between desire and restraint as he reached for the remote. His face was a canvas of conflict, brow knitted tight and shoulders heavy with unspoken burdens. For a fleeting second, I feared he would dismiss me, but then he placed the remote aside and turned his gaze toward mine. He whispered, "I've been thinking about Philip. He's been different lately, hasn't he?" A tightness gripped my throat. My heart raced, desperate for the right words, yet they eluded me in that moment. This was the moment I feared would come, yet longed for in secret. I needed to share my heart, but how could I? Do I dare reveal my heart's secret? Or should I continue to act as if everything was fine, as if our hidden truth didn't linger in the air between us? "Yeah, I've seen it too," I said softly, masking the weight of my words. "He's been distant, as if hiding a secret that pulls at my heart. It's probably nothing, but my heart whispers otherwise." George's smile was subtle, yet his eyes held a depth that stirred a longing within me. "I'm not sure, Margaret. After all this time together, I've never witnessed him like this before. I'm beginning to feel like there's more beneath the surface, something I'm not quite grasping." His words pierced through me, leaving a raw ache in my chest. He was beginning to sense it, and the idea of him discovering the truth like this filled me with dread. I needed to soothe him, to prevent him from uncovering the truth that lingered just beneath the surface. "George, stop. You're making this harder than it needs to be," I urged, my voice trembling with unspoken feelings. "Philip's been feeling the weight of the world, caught in a storm of expectations and unspoken desires. Perhaps he just needs a moment to find his way. You're aware of his nature." Yet George remained unconvinced. His eyes met mine, a strong gaze that felt alive and unsteady. "I'm not sure, Margaret. Something feels off. It's undeniable. I can't shake the feeling that Philip is keeping secrets from me. He's always kept his feelings hidden, yet I can sense when something isn't right." I held my breath, my heart pounding wildly. This was it, the moment I faced a heart-wrenching decision. Should I reveal it all to him? Should I guard Philip's hidden truth? Should I let George uncover the truth himself? Before I could speak, George rose abruptly, raking his fingers through his hair, a mix of frustration and longing in his eyes. I can't help but reach out to him. I must speak with him. "George, please," I urged, standing up, my heart racing. I clutched his arm, my fingers shaking as I tried to keep him close. Please. This isn't how it should be." His gaze met mine, a storm of confusion and frustration swirling within. "Why shouldn't we? If there's something between us, I deserve to know. I must make it right," I whispered, my voice trembling with unspoken longing. "But perhaps, just perhaps, there's a different path we could take. Just a little more time, please." His gaze lingered on me, a silent battle between desire and restraint playing out in his eyes. At last, he let out a heavy sigh, his shoulders drooping under the weight of unspoken longing. "I'm lost, Margaret. Why do you care so much about him?" Tears threatened to spill, but I held them back, understanding the weight of his struggle. "I can feel the secret he carries within him." George's eyes lingered on me, a mix of worry and something deeper flickering in his expression as he stepped closer. "Margaret, what's happening between us? What do you feel?" I shut my eyes, feeling my heart pound wildly. I longed to share my deepest secrets with him. My heart ached to reveal my truth, yet the words eluded me, trapped in a web of longing. The truth tangled around us, more complex than I ever dreamed, and I feared George might not be able to bear it. "I can't say," I whispered, my voice trembling with unspoken longing. "Not just yet. Just hold on to your faith in me, if only for a moment more." He nodded slowly, but the uncertainty in his eyes betrayed his heart. "This feels wrong, Margaret." The uncertainty gnaws at me. "Understand," I whispered. "Yet, there are moments when we must navigate our feelings alone before revealing them to anyone else." George lingered, his gaze locked onto mine, before he exhaled softly and enveloped me in his embrace. In his arms I found a fleeting sanctuary, a warmth that whispered of safety, if only for an instant. Yet, deep down, I sensed that this fragile tranquility was destined to shatter. The truth was inevitable, and my heart raced at the thought of it. The days that followed our talk lingered in a cloud of tension. The tension hung between George and me, even in the stillness of our shared nights. He was making an effort, I could sense it, yet a part of me resisted, haunted by the hidden truth I held close. Each glance at him tightened the grip around my heart. The tension hung heavy, filled with everything we dared not say, and I realized this couldn't last forever. A week later, everything reached its breaking point. On a rainy Thursday evening, George slipped back home from work, his heart heavy with unspoken desires. He was weary as always, yet tonight, there was an undeniable spark in his step. He appeared lost in thought, his gaze distant, as if he were wrestling with a secret that tugged at his heart. He entered the living room, lost in his thoughts, barely noticing my presence. I rose from the couch, my heart racing. "George, is everything okay?" I asked, my voice trembling with unspoken feelings. He turned to me, and I caught the turmoil swirling in his gaze. "I spoke with Philip today." His voice barely above a whisper. He finally confessed his feelings. The air grew heavy, and I stood still, my heart sinking deep within me. My deepest dread had become reality. George had uncovered the secret. I fought to hide my fear, but I sensed he could see the truth beneath my facade. He moved in, his gaze locking onto mine with an intensity that made my heart race. He whispered about the promotion he was offering, a tempting secret between us. He confided in me that you were the one who revealed my thoughts, and he shared so much more about what transpired between you both. The ground vanished, leaving me suspended in a moment of disbelief as the words pierced my heart. It was more than the promotion, more than Philip's desperate plea. It was everything: the whispered words, the electric tension, the feelings that had quietly surged between us. The secret I held close was now slipping through my fingers, no longer just mine to bear. "Forgive me," I murmured, my voice trembling with unspoken longing. "I wish I had found the courage to say it. I never meant to cause you pain, George. This was never my intention." He held my gaze, the silence stretching between us, heavy with unspoken words. His gaze held a pain, yet beneath it lingered a tenderness, a silent understanding that felt almost wrong to acknowledge. He stepped closer, his fingers brushing against mine, a touch both tender and electric. "I'm at a loss for words, Margaret," he murmured softly. "I'm angry and hurt, yet a part of me understands. I understand Philip's nature all too well. He has a way with words, drawing me in deeper than I ever imagined possible. It was never supposed to be you. I never intended to fall in," I whispered, my voice quaking with uncertainty. Yet he was battling his own demons. I found myself unable to resist. When he revealed everything, a rush of emotions surged within me, igniting a deep need to be there for him, to save him from his shadows. "But I never intended to hurt you, George, never." George's grip tightened around my hand, his expression a haunting blend of uncertainty and sorrow. "I'm not sure I can ever truly forgive you, Margaret, but my heart is willing to take that chance. We've faced so much, and I understand how hard this has been for you. But we must embrace the truth between us from this moment forward." I nodded, my tears falling like whispered secrets. "I'm aware, George, I truly am." He wrapped his arms around me, and I held on fiercely, as if he were my only anchor in that fleeting moment. My thoughts raced, a tempest of guilt, shame, and a bittersweet relief. After all this time, we finally stood on the edge of something beautiful yet uncertain, and my heart raced with the thrill of what might come next. Yet one truth lingered. Our bond had been irrevocably altered by the revelation that dared to emerge. A few days later, Philip's voice broke the silence. Since that night, silence enveloped me, and a part of my heart ached with the uncertainty of never seeing him again. Yet, as I answered the call, his voice wrapped around me, tender and filled with regret. "I'm sorry, Margaret," he whispered, his voice heavy with regret. "It was never supposed to reach this point. I never meant to put you in that place. I can't believe I let myself feel this way." Words escaped me in his presence. He was the man who had blurred the boundaries, drawing me into a world I never wished to enter. In that fleeting moment, a truth washed over me. He was just as adrift as I once was. Our choices entwined us in this moment, yet we could never erase the past that bound us. "I can't make this right, Philip," I whispered, my heart heavy. "And I can't be involved in whatever this is between us any longer. I wish for your return, even if it feels impossible." A heavy silence lingered before his voice finally broke through. "I get it, Margaret. Truly do. Your sacrifice lingers in my heart, yet I understand the need to let go. I needed you to hear that." And with that, everything changed. I ended the call, a bittersweet wave of sorrow and freedom crashing over me. Philip chose his path, and I chose mine, knowing the weight of our decisions. Now all that remained was to piece my life back together, to mend the fragile connection with George, and to take a step into the unknown. The days that followed were anything but easy. George and I had so much left to navigate, yet we were slowly peeling back our layers, sharing our truths in a space that felt both safe and dangerously exhilarating. Even with the path ahead shrouded in doubt, our bond deepened, forged in the fire of shared secrets. Since that day, Philip has been nothing but a distant memory. Uncertainty wrapped around us, but I found solace in the moment, not needing to glimpse what lay ahead for him. Our paths were destined to diverge, yet the pull between us felt undeniable. Amidst the chaos, I discovered a truth that felt both precious and perilous. In a world that feels like it's crumbling, the heart yearns for truth, clings to forgiveness, and dares to hope for a new beginning. Life may not have been flawless, but it was ours, and for that, my heart swelled with gratitude.